SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Welcome in, everybody. Late night edition of the Rebel Report podcast. My name is Michael Borky. Should not have waited until the end of that basketball game. Should have just gone live at 9 like we usually do, but instead we had to sit there and watch that. And so because I value your sanity and my sanity, to be honest with you, we're going to talk portal recruiting tonight because there is one position that Ole Miss is in desperate need of, and there's some chatter, some rumor, whatever, that they are going to fill that need with somebody not yet in the portal. So we'll talk about that on this edition of the podcast. I really appreciate you being here. But yes, Ole Miss did play a basketball game tonight, and I mean, there's a lot that went wrong when you get beat and play the way that they did. I mean, physically just completely overmatched. Dominated on the glass, free throw discrepancy really significant, and I mean, SEC basketball officiating is really frustrating. The fact that there were bonus free throws taken by both teams starting at the 10-minute mark of the second half. Auburn shoots 39 free throws to Ole Miss's 15, but man, 42 Auburn rebounds to Ole Miss's 10. Points in the paint dramatically favored Auburn. Malik Dia completely unplayable yet again. Only 14 minutes, just 2 points. Only took 3 shots in the game. Scott and Dia were both completely unplayable tonight, but Dia in particular is somebody that is just a massive disappointment. At this point in his career, and should have taken, or you were hoping that he would take some kind of step forward or not a major step back, but a senior with that skill set and that ability to disappear as often as he does, he gets paid too much to be a guy that's completely played off the floor in a game in which they are physically dominated. And so, I mean, they're not dead yet. They have another opportunity this weekend to get a win that keeps the conversation going, but that was a major blown opportunity. They played really poorly. They were sloppy with the basketball. They got physically dominated. Some hot shooting in the second half is the only thing that made that game closer than it should have been. But it was also a hideous basketball game. I mean, 39 free throws taken in a game is just absurd. And part of that, again, is style. I mean, Auburn attacked the basket. Ole Miss did not. Ole Miss settled too often. I know they made 10 threes tonight, but they settled too often. And Carmodine wasn't good tonight either. He was 3 of 11 from the field. Storr was not his best tonight as well, but it's the fact that you've got 2 bigs that can't even stay on the floor. That's the reason why Ole Miss lost tonight, is you've got 2 bigs that can't stay on the floor, one of which is Malik Dia, and that at this point is just not acceptable, and yet that is something that they're having to do so often. All right, we'll get into portal recruiting after I ask you please to subscribe to the podcast feed. If you are watching or listening on YouTube, I want you to subscribe to the podcast feed. Wherever you get them, just search Rebel Report and subscribe and leave a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts. And this edition is brought to you by Logan Smith Shelter Insurance. If you're in the need of auto insurance or home insurance or life insurance, and you may be young, maybe even younger than me, but if you have a family, you need life insurance. It is vital for you to have, and also for your business. Shelter Insurance, Logan Smith, anywhere in Mississippi, he will take care of you with his award-winning services. 601-823-3500. 601-823-3500. And look, if you already have home or auto insurance, it's still worth the phone call. Still worth checking out. Get a quote. No skin off your back. But I think you're going to like the service that Logan Smith will provide for you from Shelter Insurance. All right. See some comments about basketball. We've got some portal to discuss as well. Probably going to be a shorter edition since it's late. But Ole Miss at the present has the number 2 transfer portal class in the country. They have done objectively an outstanding job. So they're number 2 with 26 commits. Their average star rating is better than that of the number 1 ranked team and that, as you guys know, is LSU. So objectively, Ole Miss has done a very good job with this portal class. They have filled a lot of needs. They've done well, specifically at linebacker. They've added 3 quality linebackers. I like the receiver room. I like the pieces that they've added in the secondary. There's a lot to like about this portal class, for sure. There's a reason it's ranked number 2. They've done a good job both there and in player retention. Now, it wasn't completely drama-free, but in the portal era, you are simply not going to be drama-free. There's always going to be something that happens. You're always going to lose a player late. It's just what goes down in portal recruiting. There are just going to be problems always. But when you retain what Ole Miss has retained, both on the defensive line, at running back, at quarterback, the interior 3 of the offensive line, there's a lot to like what is shaping up for next year's roster, except for one position. And that one is offensive tackle. They are absolutely desperate right now at offensive tackle. And quite frankly, I mean, just from a body perspective, let alone like a viable option of a guy that you think can step into Pounds or Williams' role and do well, that the numbers don't even really exist in the offensive line room at tackle. I know they've got Terez Davis, and he will certainly help to some degree. I know that they've added also Kern from LSU, so there's that as well. But that's what you're talking about. They've got some pretty darn good depth on the interior with Townsend Sanders and Kudus all coming back, John Wayne Oliver coming back, Connor Hughes. I mean, there's a lot to like. In the portal class, they've added as well on the offensive line for depth purposes on the interior with the incoming Oklahoma transfer whose name is escaping me at the moment. But there's a lot to like here, except for tackle. They are, frankly, I would put it on desperate would be the word that I would use at offensive tackle. And I know they've added, is it Wangoy, the tackle from Florida? But he has not taken a single snap yet. Upside is there, athletic ability is there, but he hasn't taken a snap in the SEC yet. So they are what I would call desperate at the offensive tackle spot in the transfer portal. Do they have help coming? I've been asked a bunch. I don't know where exactly these rumors are coming from. Maybe they're coming from a place of reality. Maybe they're coming from a place of wishful thinking. Frankly, Mississippi State fans seem to think that they are going to get this guy as well. And he has not even entered the transfer portal yet. Of course, I'm talking about Markel Bell. He's originally from Mississippi. He's number 70, offensive tackle for Miami. He will have to get another year. We'll have to get a waiver, but his waiver case is pretty cut and dry, I think. So if he wants another year and he wants to leave Miami, then it sounds like the opportunity will present itself for him to be there. I don't know how realistic that is. Again, he has not hit the portal, just lost in the national championship game. I assume that, if he wants to get in, you'll find out maybe as early as tomorrow that participants in the national championship have a 5-day window. Maybe the NFL feedback is good. I don't know. But if they are not able to bring a guy like him in, I don't know how many great options are available anyway. I mean, maybe you can get in on Javen James from Mississippi State, but I mean, that you hope would be just a depth piece and not a guy that you have to rely on as a starter because he's not good enough, or this past season was not good enough to be a guy that you would pencil in as a bookend at the offensive tackle spot. So they are desperate at offensive tackle. You can really look at every other position group and see a team that can compete in the same way that they did in 2025 in 2026, except for at offensive tackle. So how realistic is that? I don't know. I know it's been reported that Cody Woodiell, the tight ends coach at Miami, who is from Hernando, actually, is set to joined the staff in Oxford. They have left the tight end coach position open. I think for an obvious reason, they just wouldn't let it hang out there unless they knew who they were filling it with and when they were going to fill it. So maybe that would help with the possibility of adding Markel Bell. I don't know, but I do know that they need offensive line help, and they need it badly, and they need it right now. So that is the only position. I'm sure they'll add in others. Maybe another linebacker would help this team. But they've done well in every other spot. So they've got to close well in that one before you start talking about this team going back into the playoff conversation. I mean, that's truly where I think they are at offensive tackle. That could be what prevents them from being a team that is playoff caliber or not. So that's pretty hyperbolic, I guess. But, man, if you're not good at offensive tackle, I don't know how you can go through a 9-game SEC schedule, one that's more difficult this season than last, the way that they did this year, even though the roster makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. So we'll get to your comments after I tell you the podcast is brought to you in part by Priority One Bank. They make you their priority every single day with their online banking platform. All you need is an internet connection. You can do whatever it is that you need to do with your money, because that's what they do at Priority One Bank. They make you their priority. Bank with me there at Priority One Bank. Feels like for basketball, it's at a minimum of a split of Kentucky and Vanderbilt, or it's over. I agree. 39 free throw attempts is crazy. Yeah. Offensively, they are so challenged. They have no size at all. Dia was a complete liability on the floor tonight. Yeah. Stoppages in the game were brutal to go along with the bad game. It was so dead in the pavilion for long stretches. I mean, you had just 5 minutes at a time with no basketball being played at all. Just a missed opportunity on a lot of fronts for that team. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they're probably just not good enough. And probably just not good enough. But you can't have a guy like that get played off the floor as much as he does. Thoughts on Duke suing Mensa? It's an interesting case, right? Because they're suing trying to make him stay as opposed to just trying to recoup financially for it. I think that might be a step too far. Personally, that might be a step too far. I think schools right now, because it's not an employee-employer relationship, should focus on rev share money and that sort of thing. But good. If you have a contract, enforce that contract. It's a legal adult, signed for a whole hell of a lot of money. If you didn't want to follow the structure outlined in the contract, you shouldn't have signed a contract. So it was tough to watch in the arena. Auburn needs all 8 of their players on the floor to contribute. Yeah. State fans are elated with their portal class, and it confuses the crap out of you. They've added, Benny, is talent, a lot of unproven talent, but talent nonetheless. Guys that you can create a path to being good, especially on the defensive line. In the secondary, they've added some pieces that I like. But there's a chance they have the worst offensive line in the SEC again this season. And that's tough to overcome. They tried their hardest on Seton, and good on them for that. But you missed on him. You were always going to miss on him. And now you have hurt the feelings of your incumbent tackle, and he's hit the portal as well. That's tough. Seems like there's some guys that Pete personally likes in this portal class, like Otis and Tony Mitchell. Yeah, Mitchell I would classify as a really high upside, low risk signing. You don't need him to start. You don't expect him to start. He's very talented. He's obviously got a past. And if it doesn't work out, you don't need him to work out, right? So low risk, high reward type addition, in my opinion. Any update on the principal situation? I don't have an update. I expect him to get bought out and to go elsewhere. I have heard that it's not just LSU that has been involved, and I mean, you would expect that, right? If he's able to hit the portal, other teams are going to get involved. But man, there's just not that many people that wanted or are budgeted to just light on fire almost $600,000 from their rev share. And maybe that's been part of the hang up. I don't know. We will find out tomorrow. For the overwhelming majority of you listening, we'll find out today, or you will find out today, I think, what ultimately happens there. But I don't, at the present, expect him to play at Ole Miss unless everybody involved decided it's not worth the buyout. Miami keeping it as close as they did and scoring the way that they did makes you feel like they were a key one hamstring away from winning it all. Key one hamstring. And I mean, a pass interference, right? Or I guess it was a face mask, right? That was called kind of a soft pass interference. Called little things like that. I mean, they were very close. They were very close. I do think the principal thing is going to drag into tomorrow. And yeah, LSU has been spending an ungodly amount of money, which that's what you need to do, right? You're trying to inject life back into a lifeless program. If you got it, you got to spend it. But it does kind of sound like they are all in on this season, which is, we heard that they were all in on last season. And we heard that Brian Kelly is a great coach, and now they've got a championship contender, and now they're ready. And so maybe it's different with Lane Kiffin instead of Brian Kelly and spending a lot more, spending a whole lot of money. But by God, you better make the playoff. You better win, because this money isn't getting spent to rebuild. This money is getting spent to win right away. You better win right away. There's a lot of pressure on Lane Kiffin in year one. Why can't they pull out Jordan Seaton money and get a game changer on the offensive line? Because there's not many game changers on the offensive line available, and they are spending money elsewhere. They are. Again, I don't know anything about this Markel Bell situation. I don't know. I know people are talking about it, but I don't know. Why aren't the Rebels involved in the Jordan Seaton sweepstakes? I don't know if they've got $5 million to spend on one player right now. Maybe they do. What do you think this team must be done for this team to make the tournament? Malik Dia has got to show up. They have got to get stuff out of him, and I feel bad for picking on one player in particular, but he's got to show up and be better than he was tonight if they're going to make the tournament. I don't think that they will. I mean, they've got to be more consistent scoring the basketball. They can't get physically dominated like they did tonight. Seaton's going to LSU. Left without signing. Other schools are still in it. We'll see. What have you heard about the coach that it might be getting from Miami? Yeah, he's a Mississippi guy. Apparently really highly regarded. I mean, he has worked for Cristobal for a long time. And, I mean, say what you will about Mario Cristobal. The physical nature of that Miami offense is really impressive. And, I mean, he's a Mississippi guy. He's got a ton of Mississippi ties. He's been at ICC. He's from Hernando, so got to be pretty darn familiar with the landscape around here. But I like the edge and toughness that the Miami offensive line and tight end room played with. So people seem to like him. Played high school ball with him. You will love this guy. No better guy to add to the coaching staff. There you go. See, that's what. There you go. Love to hear it. We saw how bad they were on the offensive line last year, and it cost them. Yeah. Talking about Mississippi State, I suppose. So should we expect Forelli to be more a quiet commitment at this point? It's not a well-kept secret he's in Oxford. I suppose so. What I can't quite figure out is what Clemson is and again, it's just seemingly emotional media people kind of talking. Clemson doesn't weigh into the portal world very often, and you can tell. Because, number one, it's a guy that's never played a snap for you. He's never played a snap for you, number one. Two, if it is true that you have not signed a deal with him, a rev share deal with him, if you don't have a binding contract, sorry. Three, tampering's basically unenforceable. And four, I don't think there's a judge that will look at a player that is not under contract, that does not have a contract, so is not an employee. It will look at that situation and say, actually, you should be able to force him to stay where you are. That's how we got in this mess in the first place. You can't restrict the movement of non-employees, generally speaking. And so if there was no contract, what can you do? I don't know that answer. I don't understand why it's been kept such a secret. Maybe there are some things that they're having to work through. I don't know. But it appears that he's not going to Clemson anymore. So what's the holdup? I do not know. But legally, I also don't know what kind of argument Clemson could have on merit that would force him to go to a college that he doesn't want to go to as a regular student. You can't do that. You simply cannot do that. Between Ole Miss winning 2 playoff games and Harper and Princeville going to LSU, that could cost him upwards of $2 million. Yeah. Just those 2 players alone, you're talking about almost $1 million to buy them out. They better be worth it. It's a lot of money just to light on fire. Late night. Yeah, too late. This is too late. I don't like this. Do the Rebels have anybody even closely comparable to that Tony kid on the Miami team? He's electric. Now, how many players in the country are comparable to him? I don't know that answer. I don't know if there's going to be a guy that will be like that. I think that there's a real chance that Deuce Alexander becomes like a household name in the SEC this year. They've added a couple of slot guys. Jonte Cook was a 5-star out of high school, for example. So there's a lot to like about him. But Cameron Miller also, the freshman out of Kentucky. So you've got a couple of slot guys, right, that have some high upside. But how many players in the country are as electric as him? He's pretty unique. He's kind of a one-of-one type guy. But I do think that although it's a lot of guys that played elsewhere, there's a lot to like about this receiver room, especially with the return of Deuce Alexander. I think he's a superstar, a star. He can be a star. He's got that ability, especially with Wallace and Stribling being gone. We'll say you do think Ole Miss could have played with Indiana, not win, but probably lose by 10 to 14 points. It was pretty impressive in hindsight how well the Ole Miss offensive line held up versus Miami. Incredible stuff, actually, when you think about that Miami front not sacking Trinidad once. Part of that is Trinidad's elusiveness, but also by the end of the season, Ole Miss had really quality offensive line play. Yeah, I do think they could have played with them. Indiana was the best team in the country. So they weren't losing to anybody. And that's, I mean, they were the best team in the country. Sometimes in tournaments, you don't get that, right? This year, you got that. The best team in college football, inarguably, undoubtedly. There's nobody else that had a compelling argument. Indiana was the best team in college football. The right team won this tournament. You get it in the NFL playoffs. Sometimes you obviously get it in the basketball tournament and so on. The best team doesn't always win. The best team won the national championship. But yeah, I do think Ole Miss could have competed with them. I think they're loaded up on the defensive side at every level. I mean, Aguero at safety, I like a lot. I know that, he was going to split time at best at Georgia moving forward, but I do really like what he is going to provide Ole Miss at that safety spot. Crawford is a big addition, I think. Plug-and-play corner. Joseph is a big-time safety that they've added. And, of course, you return Kite on one side. So again, there's a lot to like about this team next year. And Jalen Braxton, the other. Sorry, his name escaped me for a second. But this is a team that just went 11-1. They retained a whole bunch of that team, including veteran quarterback, presumably, Kejuan Lacey, interior three on the offensive line, and so on and so forth. You know the rest. There's a lot to like about the entire team, sans offensive tackle. This is a roster that can compete for the playoff next year also. The pieces are there to do that. Finishing third was well-deserved. Yes. I think Ole Miss was clear number 3. By the end of the season, they were. Keith, I assume an LSU fan, says, how many championships did you guys win? I have the same number of championships that you do, Keith. The same number. 0. I haven't won a championship. Either have you. It's my favorite response to people like that. You didn't win anything. Either did I. I've never won a college football game in my life. I could have for tiny schools you've never heard of. Probably never started a game there either. But at least I could have been on the sideline in uniform. Was impressed that Indiana used all 3 phases of the game to win last night. Just disciplined, prepared. Yeah. You need Seton, Damon Wilson, and Luke Farrelly right now, and you'll be hopeful for next year. So you won't be hopeful if they don't get Seton? That'll abandon your hope? Mississippi State at least got a visit from Jordan Seton, and he could have easily made the 100-mile trip to Oxford after leaving Starkville, but he went right on by. Well, finishing 4th and finishing 6th are totally different. I mean, come on, man. It was good that State got the visit. They had his former offensive line coach. Good. Like that's good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, if that's what Egg Bowl trash talk is going to turn into, if that's all you've got, then it's in a bad way right now. Well, the player that's not going there at least visited. And then you followed up with the Rebs O-line will be all question marks except at center. They also return their 2 guards, but other than that, I mean, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, but I mean, come on, man. Let's not get crazy here, okay? Finishing fourth for a player is not worth bragging about. What would your starting five on the offensive line be right now? The interior three that return, and then Kern on one tackle and Terez Davis at the other? Why is Luke Farrelly such a big deal? He's a 0.853 star with okay stats. I don't get it. You got to look further beyond the transfer portal rankings. They have done that. There are guys, even in LSU's class and Ole Miss's class and everybody's class, that when you look at their rankings compared to their production / ability, make no sense at all. Like a lot of guys that are ranked way too low. And then guys that are 4 or even 5 stars that doesn't match their ability or anything. The individual portal rankings have been odd to me in a lot of cases. In this cycle in particular. Don't quite understand some of them. I mean, you guys aren't going to like this, but I know he's talented, but Deuce Knight's a 4-star. I mean, he's got incredible upside, right? He's very talented. He's got a really, really high ceiling. But why is he a 4-star? He has received one snap in his career, or one start in his career, and it was against Mercer. Now, he looked great, but it was against Mercer. One snap and one start in his career. That's it. But you look at somebody like Keaton Thomas. He's a 3-star, rated below Deuce Knight. Look at his production at this level. Look at what he's done at this level. That guy's a 3-star player, a proven, experienced, high-level player. Is a 3-star. But a guy that I know is talented with one start and it's against Mercer as a 4, it doesn't make sense. Lagway was a top 15 portal guy. Why? I mean, it's crazy. So Luke Farrelly's a big deal because he's a good player that can fill an immediate need and have multiple years of eligibility left and probably upgrade than what you had. That's why. Class rankings overall, they're a helpful tool. But sometimes there's more to it than what an individual player's ranking is. You think 3 starting receivers will be? That's a good question. So Gill and Alexander, I think, will be the 2 starting outside receivers. I mean, they got to go through spring practice and all that, but I think it'll be the 2 of them. And then the interior will be, I guess either Jonte Cook or Cam Miller. Everyone talks about the Kiffin return game, but not the Simmons return game. I'm excited for both. Well, one's going to be hostile and nasty. The other one's going to be just kind of normal. The state fan still in here. I did forget about Kutas. He's okay, but can we say that he's very good? I mean, did you watch them play against that Miami front like 2 weeks ago, man? Yeah, they were good on the offensive line. Yeah. Their pass protection in particular was very good against the best defensive front in football. Look at what they did offensively against Georgia. I don't know what else you need to see other than taking your maroon-colored glasses off to see that Ole Miss on the offensive line was good, and returning your interior 3 is a really good thing, man. Who are the top 4 linebackers? The previous 2 mentioned, Farrelly and Thomas. And then, I mean, that's a great question. is they added one more too from Georgia Tech, whose name's escaping me. Hold on. Got to find him. I forget his name. I will learn them all. Taj Butler. So there's three of them. And then who's the fourth? I mean, is it Raymond Collins, I guess? Hobson, maybe, from Tunica. He didn't really play last year. I don't know. I mean, they're going to be dependent on the three portal guys for sure. For sure. Well, guys, it's late. I'm gonna go to bed. I hope you guys do as well. We'll be back live on Thursday. There will be a lot of answers to your questions by the next time we go live. So I will. Did Raymond Collins transfer? I have no idea. I think they need to add one more. Regardless, frankly. So appreciate you guys. I will see you on Thursday night. See you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.